Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Profesor Pablo, lesson number 237, 237, perfect progressive verb tenses. First thing we want to tell you that these are a three-step process. For all of them, we are going to take a form of the verb haber. For the present perfect progressive, it's going to be the present tense of haber. Has, hemos, han. For the past perfect progressive, it's going to be an imperfect form of haber. Había, sabía, habíamos, sabían. For the future perfect progressive, it's going to be the future of haber. Habré, habrá, sabrá, habremos, sabrán. For the conditional perfect progressive, it's going to be a conditional form of haber. Habría, habría, sabría, habríamos, habrían. For the present subjunctive perfect progressive, it's going to be haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, and hayan. And for the past subjunctive perfect progressive, it's either going to be hubiera, hubieras, hubiera, hubiéramos, or hubieran. Now, the second part of a perfect progressive verb tense is the word estado from the verb estar, the VN2. The past participle of estar, estado, it'll never change in these sentences, ends in O. And then the last part, the third step of these perfect progressive verb tenses, is the ando y yendo, the verb number one, the present participle, the ing form. So to review, each one of these will have a beginning of haber, then it will have estado in every one, it won't change, and then it will have an ing, ando y yendo. So you need to conjugate haber in the appropriate tense, take estado every time, and then take the ing of the verb you're dealing with, ando y yendo. Now look at the numbers. You see three numbers for our verb number. 321. Well, we know the 3 is the present tense, so it's going to be the present tense of haber, has, hemos, or han. And then 2 is going to be estado, the past participle of estar, and 1 is going to be whichever verb we're working with. So it's a very simple concept. Again, we talked earlier about Legos, taking one Lego, hooking it up to another, and another. As you get more proficient in Spanish, you can take all these little bits and pieces that you know in isolated form and start pulling from the pile of Legos and clicking them together. And guess what? You create a more complex communication. Anytime you have more than one verb, it becomes more complex. So let's look at A, the perfect progressive, present perfect progressive, verb number 321. Okay? Has, hemos, han, estado plus ando y yendo. Your example, it has been raining a lot. Ha estado lloviendo mucho. Let's go with some more examples. I have been working a lot. He estado trabajando mucho. We have been eating a lot. Hemos estado comiendo mucho. It has been snowing a lot. Ha estado nevando mucho. They have been calling. Han estado llamando. He's been painting the house for a week. Ha estado pintando la casa por una semana. We've been winning a lot. Hemos estado ganando mucho. They have been losing a lot of games. Han estado perdiendo muchos partidos. The dog has been barking a lot. El perro ha estado ladrando mucho. Now, the present perfect progressive, verb number 321, of all of these is probably used 80% of the time. 80% of these types of verb constructions will be in the present perfect progressive. Very simple. 3 parts. 1, the form of haber, either has, hemos, or han, then estado, and then ando y yendo. You know how to form the ing. Estado is already done for you. Just take the appropriate form of haber in the present tense. Another example, we have been watching a lot of movies. Hemos estado. We have been. Hemos estado viendo. V-I-E-N-D-O. Hemos estado viendo muchas películas. She has been running a lot. Ella ha estado corriendo mucho. Again, 80% of this number 237, the usage of perfect progressive verb tenses, 80% of the time or more, you're going to be using A, the present perfect progressive. Let's go down to B. It's a 3-step process again. But guess what? Step 2 is estado, and step 3 is ando yendo again. So that's done. Now you take the infinitive, haber, and you put it in the verb number 5, imperfect. Remember the imperfect endings for ER and IR verbs? The endings are ia, ias, ia, iamos, and ian. Our example, I hadn't been eating a lot. Yo no había estado comiendo mucho. I hadn't been eating a lot. No había estado comiendo mucho. That implies that you started eating a lot now. It had not been raining a lot. No había estado lloviendo mucho. No había estado lloviendo mucho. We had been eating a lot. Habíamos estado comiendo mucho. It had been snowing a lot. Había estado nevando mucho. So B is just like A. Estado nevando, estado lloviendo, estado trabajando, been raining, been snowing, been working. We're just changing the haber in front from a, asa, hemos on to había, habías, había, habíamos, habían. Is this used very much? With all the perfect progressive verb tenses, the usage might be 10% or less. 10% or less. Remember, 80% or more would be the present perfect progressive. Okay, let's go to C, the future perfect progressive. Okay, this is hardly ever used, and it is the future of haber. It is used to say what you will have been doing or what will have been happening. It's even hard to say in English. We really don't use it. But the way it goes is the future tense of haber. It's irregular. It's habré, habrás, habrá, habremos, habrán, with your estado plus your ing. Habré, habrás, habrá, habremos, habrán. Example, I will have been studying a lot. Like after my first year of college, I will have been studying a lot. Habré estado trabajando mucho. It will have been raining a lot. Habrá estado lloviendo mucho. They will have been playing a lot. Habrán estado jugando mucho. All right, this is the future perfect progressive, verb number 621. 6 for the future, 2 for estado, the past participle, and 1 for the ando yendo. Hardly ever used. We're not going to pay much attention to it. Next up in D would be the conditional perfect progressive, verb number 721. Same thing, 3 steps, haber, estado, plus ando yendo. Haber now is in the conditional. Habría, habrías, habría, habríamos, habrían. What you would have been doing or would have been happening. Okay? So, if you want to say, as in the example, I would not have been studying. Yo no habría estado estudiando. Beautiful day, beautiful weather. First time you've had a beautiful day. It's been raining for weeks. And you say, I wouldn't have been studying. Yo no habría estado estudiando. Again, this is hardly ever used. Like if so-and-so had been playing, we would have been winning. Habríamos estado ganando. Yes, you can construct this verb tense. You could take your conditional Legos, you could take your estado Lego, you could take your ando yendo Legos and slap them together. But again, D and C, we hardly ever use. Now, for E and F, they're even used perhaps even less. The present subjunctive perfect progressive, now it's verb number 821. So you take the present subjunctive form of haber, which is with a Y, haya, hayas, haya, hayamos, hayan, and then estado, and then ando yendo. And your verb number here is 821. It is present subjunctive 8, past participle estado 2, and the ando yendo, the ing, would be the 1 form. Now, but remember to use the subjunctive, remember the tow vehicle, trailer hitch, and trailer analogy we talked about? Car, hitch, trailer. In the analogy, the subjunctive opposite vowel is the trailer. If you're going to tow a trailer, you need the word K, and the K is the trailer hitch, and the hitch has to be connected to a tow vehicle or a car or a truck. So, the provocador is a special type of word or phrase that can be a tow vehicle. Throw the K on it, and then you bring along the rest of the sentence, the 821. Example, I hope that it has not been raining. Espero que no haya estado lloviendo. Again, not used very much. I hope that we have been winning. Espero que hayamos estado ganando. I hope that she has been working. Espero que haya estado trabajando. And the last one would be the past subjunctive perfect progressive. And that would be verb number 921. We're using the past subjunctive. Same thing. How do you get the past subjunctive? You need, in the analogy, to have a to vehicle, the word que, and the ing, the ando, yendo. So our example is hubiera estado estudiando más. I should have been studying more. This is a special usage of haber in the past subjunctive. You can start a sentence with hubiera estado, I should have been sleeping more. Hubiera estado durmiendo más. I should have been working more. Hubiera estado trabajando más. I should have been listening better in class. Hubiera estado escuchando mejor en clase. I should have been paying more attention. Hubiera estado poniendo más atención. So yes, you can start hubiera estado plus ing. You can use hubiera to start. We should have been listening. Hubiéramos estado escuchando. Okay? The other way of the past subjunctive is with a provocador. Now, your provocador in front is going to have to be a preterite or an imperfect. For example, I doubted that they had been winning. Dudaba que hubieran estado escuchando. So our perfect progressive verb tenses are three parts. Haber, you got to conjugate it out in whatever tense you're using. Estado, always estado. And then the ing form, the ando y yendo. Three parts. Haber, estado, plus ando y yendo. I would just guess that A, the present perfect progressive is used about 80% of the time. B, the past perfect progressive with había, estado, is used maybe 10% of the time. And then all the others, the future perfect progressive C, the conditional perfect progressive D, the present subjunctive perfect progressive E, and the past subjunctive perfect progressive F are used maybe a combined 10% of the time. It could be much higher with the present perfect progressive, could be higher than 80%, and all the others combined could be significantly less. But I would just recommend that you focus on A and B and maybe the last one, F, where you're saying that you should have been doing something. So let's review A once again, okay? To say that it has been raining, three-part sentence. Ha estado lloviendo. We have been winning a lot. Hemos estado ganando mucho. She has been calling. Ella ha estado llamando. It has been costing a lot. Ha estado costando mucho. All right, let's take a look at B, the past perfect progressive with había. It had been raining. Había estado lloviendo mucho. I hadn't been doing my homework. No había estado haciendo mi tarea. They had been running a lot. Ellos habían estado corriendo mucho. And let's drop down to F, the past subjunctive perfect progressive. Let's take the one that starts with hubiera. I should have been listening. Hubiera estado escuchando. I should have been working harder. Hubiera estado trabajando más duro. I should have been reading more. Hubiera estado leyendo más. Okay, so we've taken a big oak tree and we've chopped it down. The perfect progressive verb tenses, they're not difficult. It's a form of haber, always estado, and then the ing, ando y yendo. As you get more advanced, you're going to be able to make up sentences like this. Remember, imitate and create. If you know ha estado lloviendo means it has been raining, then you just create on your own. It has been snowing. Ha estado nevando. The dog has been barking. El perro ha estado ladrando. Take it to the I form. I have been working a lot. He estado trabajando. You get the pattern. Three parts to it. Haber estado plus ing. And then the past perfect progressive. Había estado plus ing, and then I should have been hubiera estado plus ing. So there you go. We've spent some time on this, but actually it's quite powerful to come up with a sentence that has three verbs in it. Like, again, it has been raining. We say it all the time in English. She's been calling a lot. It's been raining a lot. The car's been breaking down a lot. We use it all the time in English. You don't even know what it is, but we use it. We want to be able to use it now in Spanish. And let me tell you, if you just wait and have to listen to people or the television to hear this form used, it's going to take a lot longer to learn it correctly and to be able to incorporate it into your everyday spoken Spanish communication. So when we go over something like this, we give you the secrets, we give you the tips, and you can create quickly. You can imitate and create because the brain is there with you. It takes a pattern like ha estado lloviendo. Immediately your brain knows three parts. You got the verb haber, then you've got estado, and then you're ando yendo. Okay? So there you go. Learn how to do these, especially the A, the B, and the F, the hubiera estado. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.